I think really what we see from software is we see our customers requesting everything from the need to develop kernel drivers that differ from our EVK all the way up to recommending over-the-air update partners, how do they meet security and safety requirements. So I think if we look at that, how would you say that Witekio can address each of those areas, starting with the base kernel drivers all the way up to an OTA partner, for example, which we often get asked to recommend?
We have a lot of experience with the customers who come to us with a certain hardware in mind, but they have some specialized features and functionalities on their product that they're potentially missing the kernel drivers or missing some other functionalities or missing the optimization of the BSP, for example. So that's really what we are really geared towards to provide, and working together with NXP and NXP engineers, we can really provide those customized drivers and develop those drivers and then implement those drivers into the kernel. And in terms of the OTA update, we have an expertise to implement that into the BSP, so the customer can then really securely update and keep their devices updated during the life cycle of their product. So that's a very, very common questions that we get and address with our customers as well. Absolutely.
So one of the questions we all often get when we are asked to recommend a software partner is scope creep and total cost of ownership. So how do you make our customers feel comfortable working with you at the beginning in terms of scope, making sure that only the features that they want are added, and then the total cost of ownership, so they understand how much engaging with you is going to cost, not just from an initial NRE perspective, but also total cost of ownership?
We really assist our customers to actually, a lot of times how we engage with our customers is we engage as a first step workshop with them. So meaning that we actually invite our customers in a very early stage in, they don't have necessarily all the specifications lined out quite yet, but we invite them in and use our expertise and our engineers to guide them through various different options that are there, feasible options, and together discussing what the customer envision to have and what we can help them guide to do to write that statement of work. And during that process, we basically help customer to clearly define their product and avoid some of that feature creep, for example. As well, that it also helps to speed up the whole process, because once we define and clearly define things and functionalities, we can be much more efficient in actual software development work to develop and deliver them what they actually need. That's really kind of the main tool in our toolbox to help with that. From the perspective of the total cost of ownership, we actually offer the service packages for our customers as well. So obviously we give our customers a cost estimation of the NRE, but then we also can offer our customers the lifecycle management services, meaning that we can then, based on the complexity of their software, based on the requirements of their application and software, we can provide them an annual fee to maintain that software package, to maintain it secure, to maintain it updated, and also potentially to add some features and functionalities in the future, a quarterly or half a yearly, whatever fits best for the customer strategy. So we have a very good offering in terms of lifecycle management and lifecycle services as well.
One of the other big questions we get about software is proprietary versus open source. And obviously, a lot of the customers we deal with in the medical space, for example, extremely long life cycles. So open source and a full open source image is extremely important to them. And as NXP, we try and do the goodest job as possible in terms of upstreaming to the mainline kernels to make sure that we have that extensibility as software. Often customers get confused by working with a company like Witekio and keeping an open source image. How do you work with a customer that is looking to maintain an open source image but needs certain features and services from you?
That's a good point, very good point. And I think that's one of the biggest things why customers actually want to work with us, is that we have a lot of experience working with open source software, and that's really the space where we are most familiar with. And at the same time, because of our life cycle services and ability to maintain those software packages, that gives the customer also the peace of mind that they actually can have open source software. They actually can own that, as an OEMs typically very much want to, and want to maintain that control and ownership of their software. But they also can outsource some of that heavy lifting of actually maintaining and keeping that software package secure, which is typically a very problematic thing for customers, and they really worry about that, and that's where they typically try to think if it's worth to go to open source or if it's worth to go to closed source to get more of that maintainability. So we try to say that we're going to offer you best of the both worlds. You can work with the open source, but we can still maintain it as it would have been closed source alternative almost.
So open source assumes Linux. Let's talk about other distributions. Do you support Android? NXP is now working with Microsoft on Windows 10 on I.MX 8. We're looking very closely at Windows 11. There's a number of other Linux distributions that we talk to a number of customers and partners about. Can you give us a quick overview of how what is your extensibility in terms of different operating systems and software stacks?
Obviously still Yocto Linux is the most predominant in the market, I would say. We also work with Android. We have plenty of customers who are working with Android and want to work with Android, so we have a lot of capabilities on that side as well. We have a history working with Windows. Obviously, we're not talking about open source in that case, but we do have a history and still experts in the house that can work on Windows 10 IoT and also the future 11.
Yeah.
So all of those that NXP is already thinking about working with, we already are. And we can help our mutual customers with all of those options. So that's really, and we want to keep it that way. We want to make sure that we're not going to stuck with only one option. So we're going to cater the market as long as we see that feasible and really beneficial for OEM customers.